This is Get Real and Heal for high-performing women executives and entrepreneurs, where we discuss all things emotional healing and the relationships with yourself, your man, and your money. I'm your host, Jamila McMallow, wife, mother, certified cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner, mindset and relationship expert with over 20 years coaching and mentoring experience. I know that when you're the one that everyone else leans on, the leader and the trailblazer, it can be difficult to let your guard down, be vulnerable, and tend to your own emotions. So I hope today's discussion will allow you a moment to experience a life-changing realization, perhaps even a transformation. So let's begin and get real and heal. Today we are talking about motherhood with ease, homeschooling, and beyond. And just to give you a little bit of background on me as a mother, I had my children at 37, 39, and 41. I had decided that I was going to breastfeed them, which I did. Our first son is deceased, but my second son and my daughter exclusively breastfed them until, of course, you introduce solids at a certain point, but that doesn't mean I stopped nursing them. Stopped nursing them when they were ready, when they decided they were done. He was 3, she was 4, because that was my perspective, my position. That's something that I stood on, that I believed, and I wasn't interested in what outside people had to say about giving my children that experience, something that only happens once in their entire life, in their entire existence, a season that once it's gone forever. So I'm not fitting to rush it for nobody. Okay, I wanted my children to get all the benefits, because nursing and breastfeeding is not just about nutrition. It's not just about milk. It is a literal mothering tool. And if you are a breastfeeding mother, you got a crying toddler, you just nurse them. It fixes every problem. Now, I share that with you because I want you to understand that when I talk about mothering with ease, you can be a mother easily, or, motherhood is hard work. Yes. But you allow yourself to experience more ease when you are clear on exactly who you're going to be as a mother, when you are clear on exactly the experience that you want to create for your children, and you are not open to the opinions of anyone outside of you trying to tell you what they think it is that you ought to be doing, or their 2 cents on their archaic old way of thinking or whatever. Okay? No. And so if you had your children maybe a little bit younger, because the truth is, as a woman, as we age, we become more grounded in who we are. We develop a deeper sense of confidence, and we stop second guessing ourselves when it comes to certain things. We become very much like, no, I'm good on me. That you can do what you're going to do, but that's not me. And when you are a mother and you are responsible for raising children, that's how you have to be. You have to be able to tune out the noise, because that is how you allow yourself to have ease, because you are trusting within yourself. Not saying that you view yourself as infallible or not open to suggestions. For example, if you're looking for answers because you recognize, okay, there's a problem or a challenge, something that I want to solve, that's different than somebody offering you an unsolicited opinion about a strategy tactic, or a technique that it's like, no, that's not in alignment with the experience that I want to provide my children as a mother. Okay. And so not being easily influenced, swayed, open to the opinions, the thoughts, etc. of other people, particularly sometimes it's family members, sometimes it's friends, people who think they know what they're talking about and they don't. When you're not open to that, then you feel a whole lot less stressful, because you're not trying to live up to someone else's expectations of who you're supposed to be as a mother. Now, if you have made some mistakes, if you have prioritized other things above your children and you have guilt, well, that's a totally different conversation. And I get that. And especially if you had your children younger, because when we're younger, we don't know what we don't know. And we do make more mistakes because of our inexperience, because of our lack of knowledge and understanding and so many things, and really the lack of knowing who we really are. And I also firmly believe that by the time you get to your mid to late 30s, you have finally come to see the outcome of the parenting that you received. So you've now lived long enough to see the results of your parents' parenting And to be able to decide that, no, I'm not, that didn't work. I'm going to have to get a coach to help me work through that. I need to let go of that limiting belief. I need to unravel that. I do not want to pass that down. And so you're able to make some very powerful and conscious choices and decisions about how you are going to raise your children, what you are going to condition them to believe, because yes, you are going to condition them to believe something. That's what all parents do. We set our children off on a path. They're going to go their own way, but we have an obligation to give them a way to go, to give them a launch pad, a foundation upon which to build. And hopefully it is more open and enlightened and supportive than perhaps maybe what you experienced. We always want to try to do better than what we experienced. We want to do better, give our children more than what we have. And so being firmly grounded in who you are as a mother, being crystal clear on the experience that you want to provide your children is paramount. And obviously, this entire season is dedicated to the feminine ease movement. And so if you're married to a good man, you're in the right place, because he's going to be your teammate. He's on board with you for this whole experience. And what I'll say is this. One of the places that I have really come to here lately, and as you know, if you've been listening to this whole season, is really breaking up with the idea that I need to wear all the hats and do all the things to be, air quotes, successful. I have already redefined success. I have released that high achieving mentality. I have released the idea that I need to assign any sort of activity to making money. Like, I don't need to do anything that creates money in order for me to have value in my family, in the world, in my existence, period. That's not what lights me up. That's not what fulfills me. That's not what brings me joy. And for the last almost 90 days now, since we came back from our anniversary trip, I have really put my business on the back burner. And it has freed up so much space for me mentally, so much so that I've become focused on things that were always more important. I've been getting projects done around the house. I've been engaging in new hobbies. I'm just doing all these things. And I said to myself, how in the world did I ever find the time to run a business? I have so much to do in the house, or, with my kids and all these different things that I'm doing. And so I have no interest in trying to be some type of boss babe, mogul, blah, 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 whatever. I think it's a bunch of garbage that we're sold as women, that we can do it all and still be happy, and, oh, just practice self-care. Oh, just get on a treadmill. Oh, just get a massage. No, how about you look at all the hats you're wearing, look at all the plates you're spinning, and eliminate half, if not all, and only carry one or two. The two that you can carry comfortably, where you're not out of breath, you're not exhausted, you're not overwhelmed, you're not on the verge of burnout. That part. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't work or you don't have to work. If you want to, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, okay? And that is a large part of having the bandwidth to allow yourself to mother your kids with ease, is breaking up with this idea that you cannot respect the season that you are in. Now, there are some women who don't have an option or a choice, but you only have your children for a limited time. It is a season. And once it's gone, it's gone. Once it's over, it's done. And what are you going to look back and say to yourself about what you wish you had done differently when you had them for this little smidgen of time, in relation to how long they're going to live, in relation to how long they're going to be out there as an adult in the world without you, where your influence no longer carries the weight that it does right now in their life? So that's number two. Number one, like I said, is being firmly grounded in who you are as a mother and what you want your children's experience to look like. Number two is releasing yourself from the idea that you need to wear all the hats and do all the things. And I'm not one of these people out here promoting this idea of, being a more traditional wife, because what I do not believe in is looking back at anything as if that was the way to do anything. I believe it's always us moving forward. It's a moving forward. It is never a recreation of anything that happened in the past, because the past is in the past. And so in this day and age, we have husbands who change diapers, wash babies, do all the things that our fathers probably didn't do. I know my dad did some things, but he was not hands-on like my husband is. So we can't say, we're going to go back and be a traditional whatever, when that scenario no longer exists. The men today are way more present, are way more emotionally connected to their children than our fathers were. I'm a Gen Xer, okay? And because that's just not how it just wasn't how it was. So the same thing goes for us as women. We're not in a situation to where there's this expectation that if we decide, okay, I don't want to spend all my time focusing on making money, I want to, spend most of my time caring for my family and being home, that all of a sudden now I'm expected to do 5 billion things and take his shoes off when he comes through the door. And the only thing he has to do is get up and go to a job. No, that's so let me go ahead and debunk that for you right now. That's not what I'm saying. I don't even advocate for that. I don't even know what that is supposed to be about because, like I said, the past is the past. Bygone eras are bygone. They're gone. They don't exist anymore. You can't bring nothing back. It's only a moving forward. And where we are right now is as women, we are more educated. We have more skill sets. We are in a position to create money anytime we feel like it. So anytime we feel like we don't want to do it and want to take a break from it to focus on other things, primarily raising our children, we can do that. And we don't need to feel guilty about it. We don't need to feel like we're falling behind because we're not. Who in the world are you trying to keep up with? Like who, what? No. It's about you, your kids, and your husband, your family. That's the only thing that matters, and your goals and the things that you want, period, dot. Now, when it comes to homeschooling, there's a whole other element to this that is, again, in line with that idea of knowing what it is that you want to do and knowing what it is that you want to create for your children, no matter what people outside of you try to tell you about what their misconceptions and stereotypes are about homeschooling. Now, before I ever even met my husband, I had decided that when I had kids, if I ever had kids, that I was going to homeschool them, period. I had already decided that. So when we got married, and when we first got married, we weren't even planning on having kids, but when we did make that decision, and we talked about it, he was all for it. He was on board with it, fully supportive and all of that. And I knew that I am not a person that likes rigidity. One of the things that I hated about school, besides just school being there, trapped in a building for 8 hours, staring out the window like, why am I here? Was that rigidity. And that's literally what I felt like. There's a famous business coach, his name is Myron Golden, and he said, he refers to them as child prisons. And I remember when I heard him say that, I said, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I called it in my head when I thought about school. That's what it felt like. And keep in mind, I was someone who got good grades, National Honor Society, did all the things, checked all the boxes, got a degree, got a job in my field. I did well in school, academically, but because what I learned to do was to memorize and regurgitate information. I didn't actually care about anything that I learned, and in fact forgot 99% of it. Okay, so I share all of that with you to say that I didn't have some type of experience where I was like, oh yeah, I want to recreate that for my kids. It was like, oh no. I'm not going to put them in an environment that stifles them, that forces them to learn things they don't care about and that will not be relevant or pertinent to them in whatever it is that they choose to do with their life. I don't want them to be indoctrinated and conditioned to believe that there is only one pathway to success, that they are only allowed to learn these specific subjects, that they're only allowed to talk about whatever the teacher says or whatever the school decides or whatever this air quotes curriculum says. No. None of that is what I wanted for my children. And so I'm telling you this because a part of mothering with ease, a part of homeschooling with ease is, again, standing on business when it comes to the type of educational experience you want your children to have. And I am not of the belief that a stranger is more qualified to teach my child than I am. I am of the belief that I am the best educator of my child. There are subject matter experts, right? They may know something more about a subject than I do, but I am the expert in my children. And so I know how they think. I know why they're doing what they're doing. And so really me teaching them, when I'm teaching them different things, it's for me, it's more like coaching, like working through, like, okay, just keep going, we're going to work through this, and finding right there in real time in the moment how to help them to understand a specific concept or whatever it is that we're working on. And let me tell you, I follow the unschooling philosophy, which is that we follow their interests. We do whatever it takes to help them grasp whatever it is that they need to learn. At this point, for my kids, it's mainly the basics, reading, writing, math. But then we also take the time to focus on the things that they are really into, so that interest is growing, because children know how to learn. And so that is my philosophy. That is what I stand on. That is the educational experience and environment that my husband and I have created for our children. And so it's not hard. It's not hard because I am not trying to live up to somebody who has zero knowledge, understanding, or experience in educating their children at home's opinion about what it is that we have chosen to do. Not interested in the incorrect lies and stereotypes about socialization, when we know for a fact that there is no situation or scenario ever in life where we're only with people our own age. When we go to work, we work with people from all different walks of life and from all different age levels, age groups. And so that is not how children are, air quotes, socialized. You as a parent socialize your child by talking to them and teaching them how to have manners and how to engage in conversation. That's what I do with my kids. It's literally active teaching. Like, okay, when someone says hello, this is how you can respond. You can say, how are you? Like teaching them how to engage in conversation. It's a skill set. You're not going to learn that from people who have no better experience or skills than you, period. So I say all of that because I want you to understand that even when it comes to homeschooling, what some have done is fallen back into the trap of, oh, well, I need to try to recreate traditional school at home, or, oh, I need to join some online program, or, oh, I need to buy some expensive curriculum. And it's like, no, kids don't even learn like that anyway. They don't. If you really think about anything that you have ever enjoyed that was fun for you to learn, that's not how you learned it. Not being forced to just sit there and stare at a board or read a book that you didn't care about. It's just not. It could have been fluid. Maybe you were up and walking around or drawing or observing. However you best take in information, that is the experience that you can create for your child, and you don't have to try to shove them into a box or try to, again, be rigid with it. And so when you do that, when you trust yourself as the leader of the educational experience of your children, and you trust that you do have the ability to reach them, listen, everything they have learned, you taught them. And we don't understand that 99% of what they learn from just watching us, from interacting with us. Think about your kid. They were a baby. Somebody taught them how to walk. Somebody taught them how to use a bathroom, wipe their behind. Somebody taught them how to use a fork. Somebody taught them how to say their name. There are so many little things that you have taught your child that they absorbed, grasped, and mastered because of you. Not because of some stranger or a book or sitting at a desk all day. It's because you took the time, because you knew it was something important that they needed to know, and you had a vested interest in their success, in helping them to accomplish it. And so that's what it can be like. So even if you're already homeschooling, or if you're thinking about doing it, you can allow it to be easy and not stressful. Now, it does mean that you are going to be with your kids all the time, and you're not going to have very many breaks. I get that. But the rewards it just outweighs any of the challenges that come forth, because there's so many other things that you're not going to have to deal with because you have made the powerful decision to homeschool them. So I know today's discussion was a little more geared towards some very specific areas, but these are areas that are important to me. This is how I live my life. This is a part of the things that I am highlighting in the Feminine Ease movement, how you can be a more present wife and mother, how you can support and encourage and guide your children, your family, even more than you already do. And it is going to be some things to think about, some things that are going to challenge what you may have believed your whole life, what you may have thought, oh, that's an empowering way to be. And now you're like, actually, no, it's a tiring way to be. And I'm like, yeah, girl, I feel you. I'm with you. Okay. So next time we are going to be talking about how feminine ease leads to more abundance. Again, moving away from this hustle and grind mentality, this always working, this making everything super hard, this trying to wear 50,000 different hats, including when it comes to being a mother, and then feeling guilty about not being present for your kids the way that you want to be because you're focused on all these other things that, when you really stop and think about it, are just not important in comparison to them. But something within you makes you feel obligated to do those things. But are you truly obligated, or are you just choosing to be obligated? So that's the question you have to answer for yourself. As always, you can find my incredible mini trainings and courses at CoachJamila.com. Click on courses and you can get instant access right there. Until next time, I want you to know that you are worthy and deserving of the peace and ease that you are desiring, simply because you live, breathe, and exist. Visit CoachJamila.com, where you'll find the links to connect with me on social media and more information on my private coaching for high-performing women.